right above my kneecap. And he's like, you don't feel any pain above here. And I'm like, no, And I was saying, even past the kneecap was getting better. The pain wasn't there. It was moving down to my knee, which as I was laying in bed, that I would get these sharp pinches on my knee or close to my ankle. And I was like, well, the swelling's probably going down and it's healing, and I'm feeling these little pinches. Now that I'm able to feel the nerves, that's probably what it is. And the nurses, yeah, And for some reason, there was this weird cloud that came over me where I started thinking everybody was just agreeing with me. And the thing that kind of ticked me off or turned me into this was that the doctor at the very end, when he was shaking my hand, he said, oh, it was good. Everything's going to go well. And I'm like, well, I got work to do. I'm taking off work. I got rent to pay. I got bills to pay. About how much longer? Because they're all like, we're not going to lance it. We're not going to open it because that can cause more bleeding. And we don't want it to blood clot and then eventually travel to your heart and cause a stroke. So we're just going to let it sit and heal itself. And I'm like, you got these two big freaking blood blisters. You're just going to leave them there? Pop them. Get that crap out of there. No, we're just going to leave them. And it wasn't until this morning, no, actually yesterday, they actually put a pad around it to hold it down and kind of force it to slowly leak. Which I'll get into. It's disgusting. But that one night when he's like, no, we're not going to do anything to it. We're just going to let it do what it needs to do. And I'm like, well, I got to get home. I got this, I got that. And I'm like, how long is it going to take? He's like, well, it'll take as long as it's going to take. I was like, okay. And he left. And then I looked down and I saw he had that line right above my kneecap, kind of drawn from the side of my leg almost to my inner thigh. And then talking to the nurses, oh, they're going to do this, they're going to wait, and okay, yeah, almost kind of dead-faced. Seriously, folks, I thought I was losing my leg. I really thought they weren't telling me, and it was getting to the point where the leg was getting so infected, and they were keeping it from me, or it got to the point where there was not going to be any way they can cure it without taking the chance of me having a heart attack or a stroke, that they were setting it up for an amputation. And you hear those stories when you're a diabetic, and it rang true. It scared the fuck out of me. And the rest of that evening, I didn't know what to think, because everything was like, well, everything's gone. I can't work with one leg. How am I going to get in my apartment? How am I going to drive? How am I going to learn this whole, I'm all alone. How am I going to learn this whole new lifestyle? And I don't have the money for it. I don't have the money to get a prosthetic. I don't have the money to go to rehab. How is this going to happen? And that night was horrible. That was such a depressing night. And it wasn't until the next morning, which was Thursday morning. I got the little notes. Thursday morning, the first doctor I talked to, that's when they put the bandage on. And they're like, okay, we're going to keep this, and this is eventually going to give you some pressure, especially when you walk, and that's going to kind of push down on those blisters, and hopefully things are going to work its way. The skin's going to get looser, and eventually you're going to start leaking. And that's what we want. As soon as you see like a little leak on the bandage, we'll change the bandage, we'll clean it, we'll change it, do it again, see if it can go down. And I brought it up to him. I says, Doc, this all sounds great, but am I going to lose my leg? And he laughed at me, and he says, where did you get that? He goes, no, you're fine. And he did the whole thing. He's like, push with your foot. Can you wiggle your toes? Can you push? Can you, go against me and everything? He goes, your foot is fine. Your leg is fine. There's no reason to get rid of it. We just have this area, and the bottom, because also the bottom of my knee was getting very red. It was like hematobin, I think, because I was laying in bed all the time. It was always raised, so the blood was pooling because I wasn't moving as much. So that added to me too. When I saw that, I'm like, well, everything's turning red. And He's like, no, you're a long way before we even talk about something like that. This is going to take a while to get through. It's going to be a little painful still, but it's basically going to be dressing, undressing, dressing, undressing until this thing comes down. And then once it comes down all the way, then we got this ointment. You're going to be putting it on a couple times a day, covering it up with gauze, replacing it, and eventually it's going to heal itself. And it's like, oh, okay. Felt so great. I was almost in tears with the doc, but I felt so good. That was one of the scariest moments. I didn't know what was going to happen, you know, and so that was yesterday. Throughout the rest of the day, I was happy because of the news. I was happy because I had my 3 visits of Mr. Morphine. Actually 4. Morning, afternoon, 3 of Mr. Morphine. And they got to know me. I think they do. Because it was right around after lunch. And they always came in and goes, how's the pain level? Oh, it's okay. All right, we got your stuff ready. It's like, you know already. You know I eat lunch. It's time for a big nap and hallucination world, you know. And the final night, last night, leading into this morning, Saturday, it stormed. You guys know it stormed. It was. I love storms. I love thunderstorms. I love lightning storms. And out here on the north side, we had quite a few of them. It was the first time I was able to lay in my bed, hospital bed, and look over that way and see the windows and just see the lightning flashing. It was great. And because I'm laying so low in the bed, flat, so low, when I looked over, I didn't see any treetops. I didn't see any buildings. All I saw was sky, cloudy sky. And when the lightning would flash, it'd be like cloudiness, you know. And then went through the night, and then I watched some more TV. Mr. Morphine visited. I went to sleep, turned off the TV. It was the weirdest thing. I woke up at like 5, just when the sun was coming up. Even though you couldn't see the sun because of all the cloudiness, but it was still raining. And it was weird. I was laying there and I felt so uncomfortable again in this stupid little hospital bed that you know, the things are up on the sides and you can't turn, you can't toss. I'm on my back, I'm sweating, I'm hugging a pillow. I got a pillow up here, I got a pillow to raise my leg down at the bottom. I'm in like a little sheet covering me. And just looking over there, it was the weirdest thing because everything was dark, everything was weird, but I was seeing these flashes of lightning like behind this hazy clouds. And it felt, I must have put myself there for at least 15, 20 minutes. I felt like I was like in a sleep chamber of some science fiction film, like Alien or something. I was like in the thing and looking out the window, and there's like a solar storm happening outside of the spaceship, and you're just hearing this thunder and you're seeing these flashes, and it's just like, oh, that's so cool. Look at that. I'm like in this little cocoon. I can't move until they release me. And crazy Roger, man. But then the most of the day from like noon, they wanted me to have lunch so they can check all my levels again. And from noon till about 6:30, they were preparing for me to go home. A doctor came in to explain to me how to do the bandages and how to do all that as it's slowly leaking. The nurses came in with my medicines and the new adjustments of the medicines. I'm still getting pain. It took a while. I mean, I was anxious. I wanted to get out of there so bad. I like around 2:30, I was already dressed in my the clothes I came there with. I was like, out of that damn thing. I'm done with it, you know. And I ended up watching, you know, Happy Days and stuff, and watching OJ get pardoned. There was history. I'll never forget that because of this, or vice versa. Where were you? And then I ordered like a chicken noodle soup, which was my last meal at the prison, the hospital prison. And then they came and they actually took me home in an ambulance because they didn't have one of those vans, you know, with the wheelchair in it. They were real busy, so they actually called an ambulance, and I was on a stretcher, and they brought me right up to my doorway, and I hopped off, and I got home, and I sat in front of the computer and saw I had like over 100 plus emails from everybody and messages from Facebook. I did that goofy little picture that I'm home, and that's that. And now I have to deal with this damn snap type of weird virus thing that's on my computer. I've been looking, I've been trying everything, and it still frickin' pops up before I want it to, or when I don't want it to. All right, so that's the whole thing. I just want to say thanks everybody for being concerned. All the messages on Facebook you had written down, all the concerns when I said I was going into the hospital back on Saturday morning, and all the wonder, where am I? I don't have a phone. I don't have any communication other than my PC or in my apartment. So I should have brought my camera, but that would have been fun. But I'm sure I would have ran out of space on my little chips, you know. Now that I think, that would have been kind of fun just to have the camera out every once in a while. Maybe next time. Hopefully there isn't a next time. I don't really like hospitals. I like them because they heal you, and some of them, this one, very, very friendly and helpful, but it's someplace that just puts a halt in your life. It just stops everything. And while you're waiting there, and this long waiting period to get healthy again, life is going on, and you have no idea you're stuck in this building. And if you're a person that is on social media so often, it's a weird thing not to be attached to that anymore. You don't know what people are doing. You don't know what people are saying or talking. Again, I had nobody's phone numbers. I had nothing, so I couldn't communicate with anybody other than work to tell them what was going on and to set up when I'll be coming back. But right now, it's old Roger D. I have my cane, my trusty cane. Call me, oh, it was right there, and it just went, phew, goodbye. Although it doesn't have the amber mosquito in it. Who am I thinking? Who am I thinking? Jurassic Park. Yeah, so I'll be walking with a cane for a while, at least until my knee gets all fixed up. I got a wonderful brace that I have to wear. This gigantic brace. Ooh, look how exciting. Which hurts like hell when it's on there tight, but it helps me walk so much better than without it, because it keeps the legs straight as you're going along. But I just want to say, again, thank you to everybody that was concerned, that wrote, and are welcoming me back. Again, with my my goofy internet and my studio not working properly, I thought the best thing I can do, I didn't want to go on live and answer questions. Maybe you can ask me questions in another video. But I figured, let me just record this on my camera, and I'll throw up all the parts, however they're edited. The sentences might just be cut in half, and you'll have to go to the next one. That's how it's going to be, unfortunately. And I just felt like talking about it before I forgot all this stuff. And I'm sure I forgot a whole bunch of other stuff that I could have just went on and on and on about. Because you know me, old Roger D loves to talk and talk and talk and shut up and get to the point. But no. I just want to let everybody out there know what happened, what I was going through this last week, and just to tell everybody thank you for being concerned, and for all your prayers and wishes, and we'll see you in the next video. Keep going, keep battling for me, praying for me. My leg gets healed very fast, and we'll see you all in the next video. All right, bye-bye.